Hello everyone, and to our Filipino friends in the Philippine islands of Luzon, Mindanao, and the Visayas, and all across the globe. Kumusta mga kaibigan? Kumusta mga amigo o amiga? To our Spanish-speaking friends, hola amigos y amigas. To our Muslim brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum, ni hao ma, namaste, bonjour, konnichiwa, privet, hello, ciao, annyeonghaseyo, and that's to our Chinese, Indian, French, Japanese, Russian, German, Italian, and Korean friends around. My name is Victor, and once again, welcome to English Made Easy. How's everybody doing? I'm doing great myself, in case you're wondering. The primary objective of our channel is to help our non-native English speakers learn English speaking and become more familiar with the English language with the use of our fun and simple methodology. We are pretty much a new channel, and in this video, we will delve into part 1 of our basic grammar lesson, beginning with the subject predicate parts of a sentence. A good grammar in your sentence, whether spoken or written, makes you look and sound more professional, and that's in my honest opinion. We have made a few videos on the subject of proper pronunciation of some difficult words, so please don't forget to check them all out, as well as explore our channel. What is a sentence? What is a subject in a sentence? What is a predicate in a sentence? What is a verb in a predicate? Is it possible to have a verb only in a predicate? How are imperative sentences an exception to the rule? What is not a sentence? Is a statement with an incomplete thought considered a sentence? What are the different marks used to end a sentence? As your host, it is my desire to share with you what I know, and I am absolutely excited to help you learn basic grammar skills and be more familiar with the subject and predicate parts of a sentence. I hope you will enjoy watching until the end of this video and find out what the answers are to these questions. So without further ado, let's get started. Now let's begin with the definition of a sentence. We all know that in order to communicate, we have to get our ducks in a row, which means we need to be ready with the correct words to use in order to construct a sentence. Here's a definition of a sentence. A sentence is a group or set of words that contain, number 1, a subject, which is what the sentence is about or the topic of the sentence, and number 2, a predicate, which is what is said about the subject. Let's dissect this sentence and identify the subject and the predicate. Alberto here is the subject in this sentence, and it's a proper noun. Take note that the predicate always begins with a verb. In this sentence, the word runs is the verb, and it marks the beginning of the predicate. The yellow texted part of this sentence is the predicate. Now it's time to take a look at the subject of the sentence. Let's define subject. Subject is what the sentence is about or the topic of the sentence. Remember this: a subject in a sentence is a noun, pronoun, person, thing, or place who is doing the task or is being asked, instructed, or suggested to do it. In other words, a subject in a sentence performs the verb. It is therefore very easy to identify the subject in a sentence if you have identified the verb. Let's take a look at this sentence. My mother cooked the delicious dishes on my birthday celebration. The word mother, which is a common noun, is part of the subject my mother in this sentence. Cooked is the verb, and it describes what my mother does in this sentence. Now, let's have a look at the following examples, and let's identify what kind of subject is each one of them. Do remember that a subject can be a noun, which can either be a proper noun like Agustin, Milagros, or Philippines. It can also be an improper noun like horse, cat, or city, or a personal pronoun such as you, they, him, or her. Now that we're done defining what a subject in a sentence is, it's time to take a look at predicate and learn how to identify it. Now, predicate is defined as the part of a sentence that expresses what is said about the subject. Let's take a good look at these examples. Now, sentences can be either short or long, and these examples are the short ones. Number 1, Lorna is a fine lady. Number 2, Milagros arrives home safely. 3, Alberto runs 2 miles every day. Number 4, Rafael donates money to charity. And number 5, Ricardo plays with his dog in the park. The predicates in these sentences are obviously the ones in yellow text. As I have mentioned earlier, sentences can either be short or long. I've just shown you short sentences, and now here are some examples of longer ones. Number 1, Lorna helped her mother in the kitchen upon arriving home from school. Number 2, Alberto runs 2 miles every day when he is not tired from work. And number 3, Ricardo played with his dog in the park after finishing his school assignment. Again, the words in red text are the subjects and the yellow ones are the predicates. And remember this, a complete sentence must have at minimum 3 things: a subject, verb, and an object. As I have mentioned earlier, the subject is typically a noun or a pronoun. Usually, it answers the questions what or whom about the verb. Number 2, having a subject necessitates the presence of a verb because all verbs need a subject. Verbs are the actions being done in a sentence, and almost all sentences must have a verb. And finally, the object of a sentence is the thing that's being acted upon by the subject. Now, in order to elucidate this point further, let's bring back our previous examples of complete sentences. Do take note of the presence of the 3 important things in a complete sentence. The red text are the subjects, the white text are the verbs, and finally, the yellow text are the objects. Now, let's take a closer look at the verb. A verb is defined as the action or state of being in a sentence. It is an action word which can be expressed in different tenses depending on when the action is being performed. And remember this, a predicate must always contain a verb, and it can also include objects which are either direct or indirect, and different types of modifiers such as adverbs, prepositional phrases, or objects. Do remember that the predicate always contains a verb. Here are 5 examples of a verb. Number 1, helps. Number 2, arrives. Number 3, run. 4, donate. And number 5, plays. And these are the same verbs we used in our previous examples of complete sentences. In some sentences, the predicate is only a verb, just like these sentence examples. Number 1, the wave rises. Number 2, the sun shines. Number 3, the puppy barked. And number 4, the canary sings. Do take note that the red texted words in these sentences are the verbs and are the only words in the predicates. So we can say that a sentence must contain at least a verb and a subject. There is one apparent exception to this, and it's the imperative sentences. When someone gives a command, which is the imperative we are talking about, they usually do not use a subject. They don't say the subject because it is obvious, and that subject is you. Look at these examples of the imperative without the subject. Number 1, stop. Number 2, wait a minute. Number 3, run now. And number 4, look. Do remember that a sentence expresses a complete thought. Here are some examples of sentences with a complete thought. Number 1, Lorna helped her mother in the kitchen. Number 2, Glenda arrived home safely. Number 3, Alberto runs 2 miles every day. 4, Rafael donated money to the charity. And number 5, Ricardo played with his dog in the park. If it does not express a complete thought, then it is not a sentence. Here are some examples of incomplete thoughts. Please do take note again that they are not sentences. Number 1, cleans restroom. 2, runs 2 miles every day. 3, helps mother in the kitchen. The absence of a subject in these statements makes them incomplete thoughts, and so they are not sentences. Remember this, a sentence begins with a capital letter and ends with a full stop or a question mark or an exclamation mark, which is also known as exclamation point. Look at these examples. Number 1, Chris cleaned his restroom. Number 2, do you like water? And number 3, what's out? Please do take note of the different types of marks used to end these questions. Now, at this juncture, let's do some exercises to hammer down the lesson here. Please provide the subject in the following sentences. Number 1, blank cleaned his restroom. Number 2, blank helped her mother in the kitchen. And number 3, blank runs 2 miles every day. Simple, isn't it? Now here's another simple exercise. Please provide the verbs in the following sentences. Number 1, Lorna blank her mother in the kitchen. Number 2, Alberto blank his restroom. And number 3, Ricardo blank 2 miles every day. It's a walk in the park, isn't it? Now here's our final exercise. Please complete the predicate in the following sentences. After doing so, you shall have made these incomplete sentences complete. Number 1, Lorna helped blank. Number 2, Glenda arrived blank. Number 3, Alberto runs blank. Number 4, Rafael donates blank. And number 5, Ricardo plays blank. And there you have it, folks. Well, I hope you've expanded your English grammar stock knowledge or refreshed your skill in it with this video. If you do, then that makes the two of us, because what I've just shared with you has also made me recall my basic grammar skills I've learned years ago. And I also had so much fun while making this video. And as usual, before I wrap this up, let me give you a little reminder. Listen intently to better understand the other person. And when it's your turn to speak, make sure to relax, gather your thoughts, and aim to speak clearly to be understood. If you like this video, please don't forget to smash the subscribe, like, and share buttons and give me some nice comments down below. Bye for now and see you in my next video.